Hello everyone. Today I'll be making a short video to introduce you to an amazing variant of poker and my personal favorite game of all, Pot Limit Omaha, or PLO for short. This is going to be a basic introductory video where I explain the rules and the basic mechanics of how the game plays. I'm sure some of you will already know or have played the game before, however others may not have, and even if you have, it will serve as a good refresher course. A little background of my poker history first. I've been playing poker for 7 years and as a professional for 5. When I started out, I jumped straight into No Limit Hold'em, as most people did at that time. I saw it on TV, played with friends, jumped online, deposited some money, and was able to win and had a bit of tug and war back and forth, and then I eventually moved up the ranks and turned pro. Um, After I was getting comfortable with No Limit Hold'em, I decided to branch out and learn some of the other variants. I played stud, Omaha, draw games, split pot games, basically anything that I could try my hand at. Despite having played almost every variant of poker available online, I settled on Pot Limit Omaha, and it has been my main game for the last 4 years. My story is not unique either. The last couple of years has seen a swarm of players migrate to this wonderful game. Why? The main reason is that it's just more fun. I mean, there's no arguing. Learning a new game is amazing in itself, but when that game allows you to make more hands, play more pots, why wouldn't you want to play it? It is also, I think, more profitable. It's newer, so not many people have that good of an idea of how to play. So everyone's on a bit more of an even ground going into it, um, which I think is a really good thing. So hopefully by the end of this video, you'll know the rules and can give the game a shot yourself. Um, all right, I kind of touched on this before. Why play PLO? Obviously, it's more fun. Um, it's more complex and interesting to learn, and I think this is a great point that a lot of people don't consider when thinking about PLO. They're just like, oh, it's difficult or it's fun, but the interesting part, I think that most people who play poker play it because it's a mental challenge. It's a fun game, and we pride ourselves in being able to work out, work the game out, I guess, and do it better than our opponents. There's a famous phrase by, I think, Mike Sexton, or he definitely says it a lot, about Hold'em. It takes a minute to learn and a lifetime to master. Uh, well, if that's true for No Limit Hold'em, then I like to say that PLO is a game that takes 10 minutes to learn at 100 lifetimes to master. Might take a little longer to grasp the fundamentals and to really get a hang of it, but once you do, there is just so much more to learn, and it's just so much fun enjoying the ride along the way. Um, it's the game of the future. I definitely truly believe this. The last 2, 3 years, and especially 6 months to a year, we've seen just an enormous amount of players migrate to Pot Limit Omaha from all other variants. The reasons being exactly what I've just said. It's fun, it's more interesting. Less players have played it, so it's less solved, and it's just more of an even playing field, I would say. And finally, learning a new game helps all forms of poker that you play, and this is definitely true. Um, by learning PLO, you will also help your No Limit Hold'em game. If you play Start, if you play draw games, just any sort of new game that you can learn and a new approach to poker that you can take is going to be really good for your overall game and your fundamentals. So there's just no downside to it. So I think everyone should give it a shot, and if not, then I think you will regret it. Or rather, if you do, then I think you'd appreciate it. Okay, so let's move on to some of the similarities. PLO is incredibly similar to normal Hold'em. There's nothing revolutionary or scarily new when trying to learn this game. Um, Oops, I didn't check the slide. There we go. There's a dealer button, small blind, big blind, just like in Hold'em. There is the hole cards are dealt. Now you do get 4 in Omaha, and I'll go into that in the next slide. But the basic premise is the same. The hole cards are dealt. The action begins with under the gun, the person to the left of the big blind. There's a round of betting pre-flop. Flops dealt, round of betting, turn, round of betting, river, another round of betting. So there's a flop, turn, river. The same betting actions. The general mechanics of the game are the same. There are two key differences though. The first is the pot limit aspect. Now, you can play Omaha as no limit or limit, but the vast majority, and I would say 99% of games played worldwide, are pot limit. And the game just plays better that way. It's funner, it plays more smoothly. Um, I guess there's a reason, and there's reasons why it never developed as a limit or a no limit game, and uh, the main game now is pot limit, and I don't think that anyone would really want to learn or play any other variant just because it's not spread anywhere. So, pot limit basically means that when it's your turn to bet, you can bet anywhere from the minimum, which is one big blind, up to the size of the pot, but you can't bet more than that. Um, I don't think this is a huge difference to limit hold'em. It's not that restricting. When I play hold'em, it's definitely the exception rather than the rule, where I want to be betting more than the size of the pot. And while it does change the game slightly, I think that for almost all decisions and the majority of time that you play, you just won't even notice it. You're just betting your normal betting, and then every now and then it's restricted by the size of the pot. So that's pot limit, and I really think that it's not a difficult concept to grasp. The second thing is a bit more important and impacting, and that's the fact that you get 4 hole cards. Um, in Hold'em you get 2, in Omaha you get 4. Despite having 4 cards though, you must use 2 from your hand and 3 from the board to make up your final 5-card poker hand. This is probably the most, I guess, difficult thing to grasp, or the biggest change from Hold'em, and it does take a little bit of getting used to. But once you do, you just find out that having 4 cards will make it a lot more fun to play and enjoyable and interesting. The amount of combinations you'll be able to make, the amount of hands you'll be able to play, you'll be able to flop bigger draws, make stronger hands. Full houses, quads, and straight flushes are rare in Hold'em, but that's not the case in PLO. I like to think of it as, with your 4 cards, you in essence have 6 different combinations of Hold'em hands. And while that might seem daunting, it doesn't take much getting used to kind of look at your hand and the board and how it kind of connects together, and all the different amazing combinations you can make. There's nothing more enjoyable than looking at your whole cards and then looking at the board and just seeing them all connect. It's just exhilarating. But yeah, I guess the most important part of this takeaway is that you must use 2 cards from your hand and 3 from the board. So an example of, I guess, a situation that a lot of beginners might get tripped up with is if there are, say, 4 of one suit on the board, 4 spades, for instance, and you have the ace of spades in your hand, but no other spade, you do not have a flush, because you can only use 3 of the spades from the board, so you'll have to use your 1 spade and another card, the total result being only 4 spades. Another area where some people get tripped up is if you get dealt, say, 3 kings in your hand, say your 4 hole cards are king, 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 10, you don't actually have trip kings. You only can use 2 of them, so you would need a king on the board to have three kings. So what that means is that hands that have 3 of a kind or 4 of a kind in them are generally weaker hands, and you don't really want to play them because the 3rd card or the 4th card just doesn't get used because you already have the other 2. But yeah, it takes a little getting used to, but not that much, I don't think. And once you do, it just kind of gets easier and easier, and then it just flows downhill, and it opens up a whole new world. The best way to get comfortable playing the game is to give it a shot. Just jump right in and dip your toes, test the waters, see how it goes. Maybe if you like it, read some more strategy, read some more books or videos, read some articles, play some more. Just, I guess, get your hands dirty, test out the waters. Stars runs games as low as 1 cent, 2 cent for cash games, and they have sit and goes. I think it's as low as $1.50. It might even be lower, but they definitely have $1.50 sit and go tournaments. Which is just a tremendous way to start and learn. And the great part is that most players at those stakes are also learning and testing out the game, and then, maybe you get a little better, you try to move up, you need some more practice, you stay there. It's just, it's a great, I guess, breeding ground for PLO players. I'm going to jump in now to a table and show you just a few hands and how the game plays, I guess, mechanically. I've been sitting on this table for just a couple of minutes, just making sure that I had something to sit at while this video was running. But yeah, as you can see, before the hands got turned over, it just looks like a hold'em hand. There's a flop, there's a board that ran out. So right now I have 4 cards, ace, queen, 8, 5. I'll go into a bit of basic strategy here. This is not a very strong hand. Now, the ace-queen part is good, and that is a good hold'em hand. However, generally you want to have your 4 cards kind of working together. being a bit connected, or you want like a big pair. So I would generally advise to fold a hand like this and wait for something a little bit stronger. If you can get four hands in a row, so like a 7, 8, 9, 10, 10 Jack, Queen, King type hand, or pocket aces, pocket kings, those are really good hands that you want to be playing. Or if you get a hand that is double suited, and that means there's two flush draws, so like 8, 5 of diamonds there. If I had the ace, queen of hearts, I think that hand would be strong enough to play. Just the fact that you can flop two flush draws really helps to play the hand. So as you can see, there's everyone has varying stacks between 80 cents and $5. The action so far has been pretty standard. There was it was folded to the small blind who limped, and then the big blind checked. Again, like I said, if you didn't know better, you would be able to say this is a hold'em game until the cards get turned over. I guess an important note about pot betting, or the pot limit aspect of the game, is that you should know that I'm going to talk about this hand. Another one that I think is on the weaker side, or even very weak, the pocket sevens is obviously good. And if this was hold'em and I could just play the pocket sevens, I would. But because we have to use all four cards, the 9, 4, and the fact that it's a rainbow hand, not suited, really hurts the hand. And we're also in the worst position being under the gun. So I'm going to throw this one away as well. I think that, like I said, it'll take a bit of getting used to seeing the differences between Hold'em hands and Omaha hands, and you'll see good Hold'em hands in your Omaha hands, but that doesn't necessarily mean that it's good. Obviously, if you have a pair of aces, it's very good. Or if you have two very good Hold'em hands, like you have Ace, King, 10, Jack, Jack 10 suited, Ace, King suited, that's a very strong hand as well. So those are the kind of things to look out for. Here's an interesting hand. We have a double suited hand, Queen 7, 4, 2 with spades and diamonds, meaning that we can flop two flush draws. We can flop a flush draw and a backdoor flush draw and make two flush draws by the turn. Lots of different things we can make. We can flop two pair and a flush draw, which you can never do in Hold'em because you're restricted to one pair and a flush draw. You can flop like an open-ended straight draw and a flush draw, a pair, a straight draw, a flush draw. So I'm going to call this min raise with this hand, and we'll see a flop. Okay, so in this flop, we flop top pair with a mediocre to bad kicker, the 7, and we have two backdoor flush draws. So I'm going to bet because we have top pair, and we can get some calls out of weaker hands. Now we make two pair, which is pretty strong on this board. It's unlikely that we are beat. He would have to have something like pocket queens, pocket tens, pocket sevens, pocket threes, or queen 10 to beat us. And I think that they're pretty unlikely. It's more likely he has something like an overpair, maybe pocket aces or kings, maybe a worse queen than us. So I'm going to bet for value there. And you see that, I'm going to bring up the replayer just to talk about that hand again. You see that there are a lot of good turn cards for us there. Any spade or diamond on the turn would give us a flush draw, which is half the deck. 2, 4, or 7 gives us two pair. Queen gives us trips. 5 would give us an open-ended straight draw. A 6 would give us a straight draw. What else? An ace would give us a gut shot straight draw. So almost every card in the deck would have helped us in that spot. Which is one of the things that is just amazing about Omaha. You can continue with hands that are okay, and it can be just spectacular on the next card. I think I'm going to start to wrap this up. I've given you a good idea of how the game plays and what the rules are. My best advice is to once again just jump in, play some hands, or just bring some tables up and watch other people play. You can see the game go around, and then once you get comfortable, then jump in. I mean, you're allowed to view as many tables as you want. I think that viewing will only get you so far because you don't actually get to see the cards all that often, and you're not making the decisions yourself. So I would definitely advise playing, but I can understand that to begin with you want to, I guess, get some more experience looking at the game. I hope this video has been helpful to everybody listening, and I wish you the best of luck at the tables. Thanks, everybody.